The crystalline halls of the Zinthari imperial court shimmered with bioluminescent light as Jack stood before the assembled nobility, his human frame small compared to the towering alien dignitaries surrounding him. He could feel hundreds of eyes upon him, compound and singular, watching with curiosity and suspicion in equal measure. "This human dares stand in the Chamber of Claims?" hissed Ambassador Krell, his serpentine body coiling in disgust. "He is barely civilized, barely evolved. What could he possibly offer our empire?" Jack remained silent, his jaw set. He knew why he was here. 3 days ago, he had done the impossible. The memory was still vivid. Princess Emma, daughter of Queen Vexera and heir to the Zinthari throne, had been aboard the diplomatic vessel Star's Crown when the Korthian raiders attacked. Jack had been working as a maintenance engineer, one of the few humans employed in the vast empire that spanned 12 systems. When the hull breach occurred, when the princess's chamber had been exposed to the vacuum of space, everyone had frozen. Everyone except Jack. While Zinthari nobles had stood paralyzed by protocol and shock, Jack had grabbed an emergency suit and launched himself through the breach. The other species that made up the Empire's citizenry, the logical Threll, the cautious Mektar, the honor-bound Krell, all had calculated the risks and found them unacceptable. But humans didn't calculate like that. Jack had seen someone dying, and every instinct in his DNA had screamed at him to act. He had reached Emma as her scales were already turning the pale blue of oxygen deprivation. Her elegant features, so different from his own, had been peaceful in what should have been her final moments. Jack had wrapped her in the emergency membrane, shared his suit's oxygen reserve at dangerous levels, and pulled her back into the ship through sheer determination and a strength that surprised even him. Adrenaline, the other species called it. Humans called it not giving up. Now, as Jack stood in the court, Queen Vexera rose from her throne. She was magnificent, 12 feet tall, her scales shimmering with the iridescent purple that marked royalty among her kind. Her crest, adorned with the ancient crown of her lineage, caught the light as she moved. "Ambassador Krell raises a fair question," the Queen said, her voice resonating through the chamber. "What you did, human Jack, was unprecedented. You violated 17 safety protocols. You risked damage to the ship's hull. You endangered yourself beyond all reason." Jack met her gaze steadily. "With respect, Your Majesty, I saved your daughter's life." A murmur rippled through the court. To speak so directly to the Queen was considered bold to the point of rudeness among most species. But Queen Vexera's eyes gleamed with something that might have been amusement. "Indeed you did," she said. "And that is why I invoke the ancient right of claim before this court." The chamber erupted into chaos. Even the stoic Threll delegates showed shock, their crystalline forms flickering rapidly. The right of claim was ancient, rarely invoked, and binding under the Empire's oldest laws. It meant that the Queen was formally claiming Jack under royal protection, elevating him to a position of honor within her house. "This is madness," Krell protested. "He is human. They are reckless, emotional, violent. They are brave," Queen Vexera interrupted, her voice cutting through the noise like a blade. "They act when others freeze. They sacrifice when others calculate. They hope when others despair." She descended from her throne, her massive form moving with surprising grace, until she stood before Jack. "For 3,000 years, our empire has valued logic above all else. We have built greatness through careful planning, through measured responses, through the elimination of reckless impulse." Her gaze swept across the court. "And in that time, how many of you would have done what this human did? How many would have risked everything for a life that was not your own?" Silence answered her. Emma stepped forward then, her scales still bearing the faint marks of her ordeal. She was smaller than her mother, more delicate, but she carried herself with the same regal bearing. "He saved me when I had accepted death," she said quietly. "He gave me his heir when he should have kept it for himself. He pulled me through fire and void when every rational being would have let me go." She turned to Jack, and there was something profound in her alien eyes. "My people have a saying, in the calculation of worth, survival is paramount. But survival means nothing without the will to fight for it. Jack reminded me that life is worth the irrational fight." Queen Vexera placed a clawed hand on Jack's shoulder, the gesture both possessive and protective. "By the right of claim, I declare this human, Jack of Earth, to be under the protection of House Vexera. He shall serve as my daughter's personal guardian and as an honored member of this court. Any who challenge this claim challenges me." Jack felt the weight of history shifting around him. He was being pulled into something far larger than himself, into politics and power he barely understood. But as he looked at Emma, at the life he had saved, he knew he would do it again. That was what it meant to be human. That was what made them special in a galaxy full of species that had forgotten how to be reckless in the name of something good. "I accept this honor, Your Majesty," Jack said, his voice steady despite the magnitude of the moment. Queen Vexera smiled, revealing rows of crystalline teeth. "Then let it be known throughout the Empire. Humanity has earned its place among the stars, not through conquest or calculation, but through the simple, profound act of refusing to let someone die." As the court erupted in discussion and debate, Jack caught Emma's eye. She inclined her head in a gesture of respect, and he returned it. He had saved her life on impulse, on instinct, on the very human refusal to accept the unacceptable. Now, he would stand beside her as humanity's representative in an alien empire, proof that sometimes the most irrational choice was also the most right. The age of careful calculation was ending. The age of human courage had begun.